So um, this week we are going to be going over just a general overview of of the process from beginning to end. So we're going to keep the animals scaled down. We're going to be looking. I'm talking about physiology that used to be found in nature, anatomy versus physiology. And then we'll be looking at game monsters versus mounts versus low-level RPG creatures, the sort of stuff that you just slaughter in the beginning of the game to get through the first 10 levels, which is what you'll be designing this week. And then in the coming weeks, we'll be taking it down to bones and starting from there and really looking at creative anatomy for fantasy creatures for video games. So, I mean, it's one thing to mimic nature and present something, but for a game, it has to be entertaining. It has to be stylized. But I'm getting ahead of myself right now because I've been unfair. I've given you my introduction, and the way I would really like to run this class is that it's more, I'm definitely bringing you good information, right? But I'd like it to be a bit of a discussion. So if you guys have any thoughts, and honestly, I would like to, I'd like to see you guys post about a little bit about your background, and that way I can help you out in comments. Even now, if you want to introduce yourselves, that'd be great. If you guys have any questions right now about the course that I can answer, that'd be great. So, do you guys have any questions? Every single person's mind went blank when I answered. All right. So where are we going to start? Well, my process starts, you do have a question. What's up, Manuel? In MMO characters. Okay. Of course. I did a Gnar a couple months ago for class. That was awesome. I did Gnar in his little lizard suit, smashed in the helicopter. I'll post it up and show you guys. I did it for Halloween actually. Yeah. But all right. Well, we're going to talk about stylization. I'm definitely going to be pushing you this week towards doing a stylized creature, something along the lines of yeah, for sure. I mean, we're gonna start simple, scale it up towards the end of the class. So, depending on the complexity of what you have in your brain, I mean, I'll try and guide you to where I think it'll be achievable for you. Cool. All right. Any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry. In case I haven't, Lewis just let me know that I should be reading out the questions. I didn't know you guys couldn't see them. So I will definitely read those out. Maybe I can even send you my portfolio if you'd have a look for sure. I would love to have a look at your portfolio and help you however I can. All right, anybody else before I move forward? Will we design our own creatures or use existing concept art? Well, Christian, I'd say that I'm open to both, but I have no problems if you want to work from concept art. I kind of work through a fuzzy design method. I'm fairly quick with like sketching inside of ZBrush, right? So I tend to scrapbook first, and then I bring my scrapbook into ZBrush, and then I start designing from there. So what would you prefer? I mean, would you majority of you guys prefer to work from concept art? I mean, like I said, I have no problems with that. If you want to even do an existing creature, I'd just say that, in the time frame that we have, let's try and look at, awesome, yeah. Okay, Christian, sounds good. All right. So Oh, for sure. You know, it's funny, Manuel, and not to get on a tangent, Manuel said there's always copyright asking the author, etc. Um, when I was in school, I I was looking at I think it was Essence. I was looking at some concept in Essence, and some Oreos Ballistic Publishing. I don't remember which one it was. It was one of their, I think it was might have been Expose or Essence, one of those. Anyways, I was looking at some concept art, and I was so nervous about contacting the concept artist. I was just like, I don't know if he's going to let me. I don't know if I do don't do this any justice. If it sucks, I'll be burned out of the industry. I don't know what I'm. So I feel you. It can be tricky contacting the artist and making sure you get approval and then doing the artwork justice and all that. All right. So I have a bunch of tabs up here that are showing sort of the, I don't know, where my brain is at. So this is where I bounce around from. I go Nat Geo photos. I mean, let's be honest. No matter what we make as artists, nature's done it better. Absolutely. I mean, I'll come up with a concept I think is completely unique, and then boom, there's the goblin shark, or the Dumbo octopus, or anglerfish, and I'm like, okay, all right, nature's way better at designing. So I start here. I start looking at especially good nature photography. National Geographic has phenomenal nature photography. I mean, they're arguably the best in the world. But I see an image like this, right? And I pull inspiration from that, and it doesn't even have to be some exotic animal. I mean, if you pull up like a bulldog, there might be something in that you can pull from. It's just whatever you connect with. That's what's important, is that you're feeling it. That's where I derive my inspiration from, is there's something in a shot that just sings to me. And actually, this week, I'm going to be focused on doing something aquatic. And I think that it would be good for you guys to do something aquatic this week, just because you can come up with something really cool, focus on silhouette. You're not caught up in heavy skin detail, especially if you're doing something amphibious. And we have sort of a short amount of time to get through this first project. And the way that we're going to move through this, I know I might be jumping around a little bit, the way that we're going to move through this is we are going to first scrapbook, like I was saying, bring that into ZBrush, just start sculpting, right? I'm going to start sculpting in just a moment after I scrapbook. And then from there, we're going to Dynamesh that. We'll Z-remesh that. We're going to generate our maps, and then I'm going to show you how to plug it together inside of Maya in Viewport 2.0. So I'm actually going to narrow down my search here, and I'm going to go with an amphibian. And one that I have been looking at for the past few weeks that's been piquing my interest is the Chinese giant salamander. And I have a couple sketches that I've done over the past few weeks. This is just, it looks prehistoric. It looks prehistoric, and it's I think it would be perfect for a starter sculpt for this course. So I think I'm going to pull something from here, and actually let's go to larger images. See if you can find some sexy images of the giant salamander. Inevitably, though, I start with something like the Chinese salamander, and I go, oh, wow, this is really cool. I'm pulling some inspiration from this. And then I sort of let my, awesome, I'm glad. If you want to, Manuel's asking, should we actually work at the same time as you? I got my ZBrush open. You guys work how you want to work. So, I mean, I'm not going to tie your hands. As long as you can hear me and follow me, and you're in it and you're feeling it and you want to sculpt it, that's awesome. I think it's great. So I find an image like this. right? And I start seeing other things in here. And this is where my subconscious intelligence starts playing around, right? And I go through this sort of hybridization of the creature that I'm starting with. So I look at like the Chinese giant salamander, and then I look at an image like this, right? I was looking at that other image, but now I see this, and this is, it's still loading up. It is a huge image. Of course, it's National Geographic. I see a moray eel, right? That tail just echoes moray eel. You know, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up. Actually, let me start with a new tab. Let's see how badly I butcher this name. There we go. 1R. There we go. Thank God for suggested searches. Saw this great video of a moray eel being eaten by a sea snake, and the moray eel ended up biting the heck out of the sea snake. I'm a sucker for animal videos too. So I'm definitely going to pull something from here. I don't know if it's going to be in texture or what it's going to be yet. It's all sort of fuzzy in the beginning, and then it becomes clear towards the end. Let's see if there's anything else I can pull from this tangent that I might want to incorporate. I don't want to get too convoluted. I don't want to take 50 ideas. I don't want to take 50 ideas and cram it into one creature. You know, I think sometimes, you know, two to three different influences is enough. Sometimes three can be too much. And sometimes, you know, you just riff off of it and you come up with something wholly unique, and that's beautiful too. I mean, a lot of beautiful creatures have been born that way. A lot of beautiful monsters have been born that way. I mean, look at the Predator. You know, the Predator did not start out what it ended up being inside of the film. Ended up being something completely different. So I think I'm sticking with the giant salamander and the moray eel. Now, since I'm giving this is something we would want to put into a game. It has to have some sort of vibe. Most games are not, this is not what you're encountering in a video game, right? You're not encountering this very natural, sort of docile looking creature. You're encountering something, you know, more along the lines of this, right? Or even, you know, something like that. You know, usually aggressive because it's something you're fighting or something you have to kill. You know, something along the lines of that. And I'm not saying that you have to take it into this dark direction, because obviously we have this end too. You know, I mean, very much this week is, if you ever wanted to do your own Pokemon, this is the week to do it, right? So let's take a look at sort of the type of creature that you're creating that would fit inside of a game. And what we're looking at is early grinding creatures, right? So we're looking at you know, what would be like the creature equivalent of your low-level goblins or slimes. I actually did this search, but it didn't really give me great results. I'm actually going to pull some stuff from Final Fantasy. And I wouldn't even go as far as doing like a Quirrell, right, which is like a leopard. I'd say that would be, you know, too much too soon. And within the time frame that you guys have this week, I don't think you would be able to accomplish that well. So I would say keep it simple, keep it elegant. You know, I mean, this is is a little less than the complexity I'd like to see you hit, but it's something in this vein, right? Something that is that you feel comfortable sculpting out within a couple days time, right? And we'll have our crit on Monday, right? So you'll have from today till Sunday to produce, and you got to leave yourself time for the technical information, which I'm going to give you in the next lecture. So when you're choosing what you really want to do and you're scrapbooking, keep that in mind, that you want some stylization to it. It doesn't have to, it could be extreme stylization if you're comfortable sculpting in that way, or that's where your head's at. And it could be minor, minor stylization. By the way, when I played Final Fantasy, I beta tested Final Fantasy 11 online. I loved that game when I played it, and then I soon hated it after the amount of grinding I had to do at the higher levels. But Carbuncle was my favorite summon. I love that thing.